Please show some love for Truth Hurts, y'all. Give it up for Truth Hurts.
He breaks me down, he builds me up. Now see, I try to keep the peace, but your lies is killing me. I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready for love. I know what to do. Don't think I ever wanted something so bad. I'm willing to just blow the time. Returns my pages. The truth has come to get you. Pain is about to split you. You done put your hands on me and Dre's about to get with you. Oh, I wanted to call someone my own like this. Tell them of the in mind. The question is how long will it take for him to come home? He keeps me guessing, spontaneous. And you always running away from the truth. I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready for love. You know what to do. And I'm his lady. He makes me scream. Then you wanna go and try and hide the truth.
What if I told you that one of the biggest R&B hits of the early 2000s was erased from music history? Not because it flopped, but because of a $500 million lawsuit that nobody saw coming. Truth Hurts was on top of the world. Dr. Dre backing her, a chart-topping single, and a voice that could have dominated the industry. But in less than a year, it all came crashing down. A copyright scandal, an alleged industry setup, and a mysterious experience with R. Kelly that she refused to talk about. Was she sabotaged by her own label? This is the real story of how Truth Hurts vanished from the music industry. Before her career unraveled in front of the world, Truth Hurts, born Sherry Watson, had all the makings of a superstar. She wasn't just another R&B singer, she had real talent. Her voice was soulful, sultry, and packed with emotion. She started her career behind the scenes, writing songs for major artists like Eric Benet and Ray J, but no matter how hard she worked, she couldn't get her own big break. Then came her first personal setback, a bad marriage that left her struggling both emotionally and professionally. But in one of the most unexpected twists of her life, that marriage actually led her straight to Dr. Dre's camp. While writing music with her husband at the time, she submitted a track that somehow made its way into Dre's hands. His reaction? Who wrote this? The next thing she knew, she was on a flight to LA, working alongside some of the biggest names in hip-hop. Dre loved her honesty, so much so that he gave her the stage name Truth Hurts, because she was blunt, fearless, and unapologetic. And it wasn't just Dre who saw her potential. Snoop Dogg, Busta Rhymes, and D12 all recognized her star power. By the early 2000s, Truth Hurts was on her way to becoming the next big thing. But nobody saw the disaster that was about to hit. And it all started with a song that was too good to be true. Every artist dreams of that one song that changes everything. For Truth Hurts, that song was Addictive, a track so hypnotic, so fresh that it instantly made her a star. The beat? Unreal. The hook? Unforgettable. And the industry? They were watching. But here's the part nobody saw coming. Addictive wasn't just a hit. It was a ticking time bomb. The song, produced by DJ Quick, sampled a Hindi track by legendary Indian singer Lata Mangeshkar. The problem? Nobody cleared the sample. At first, it didn't matter. When Addictive dropped in April 2002, it exploded onto the charts, peaking in the top 10 and staying on the Billboard Hot 100 for 20 weeks. It was everywhere. Radio, clubs, music video countdowns. Dr. Dre was already preparing a remix. The industry was ready to crown Truth Hurts the next R&B queen. And then, a $500 million lawsuit dropped. An Indian record label sued Dre, Aftermath, and Interscope, claiming the song was stolen. And as if that wasn't enough, the composer of the original song hit them with another lawsuit, claiming cultural imperialism, basically accusing them of taking Indian music without giving proper credit or respect. A federal judge ruled that Addictive had to be removed from shelves immediately, unless the original composer was properly credited. Simple fix, right? Wrong. Interscope refused to add the credit. Instead, they did something unthinkable. They pulled the song from stores completely. One of the biggest R&B tracks of the 2000s was erased overnight. Truth Hurts, who had nothing to do with the sample clearance, watched her career crash and burn in real time. But the worst part? The industry wasn't done with her yet. Was Truth Hurts just collateral damage? Or was she set up to take the fall? Think about it. Dr. Dre, one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop, had the money, the lawyers, and the connections to fix the situation. Interscope, one of the biggest labels in the world. A simple credit and payout could have saved Addictive, but instead of protecting their rising star, they threw the entire song away. And here's where it gets suspicious. According to Truth Hurts, she didn't even know about the lawsuit at first. By the time she found out, the industry was already acting like she didn't exist. When she approached Dr. Dre, she straight up asked him if she should leave the label. He didn't fight to keep her. Let that sink in. A brand new artist who had just proven she could be a hitmaker gets dropped without a fight? Something wasn't adding up. And it wasn't just Dre. Interscope didn't fight for her either. Instead of doing the bare minimum, like crediting the original composer or settling the lawsuit quietly, they chose to erase the song and let Truth Hurts take the fall. Why? Some fans believe she was sacrificed to protect Aftermath's bigger artists, Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, who were all gearing up for massive releases. If the label could cut ties with a problematic artist and keep their cash cows safe, maybe it was just business. Truth herself has admitted she regretted leaving Aftermath, but by the time she realized what had happened, it was too late, and just when things couldn't get worse, another problem hit her career, one she barely speaks about to this day. What really happened with R. Kelly? If you've ever heard Truth Hurts talk about her time working with R. Kelly, you probably noticed something strange. Whenever she's asked about it, she dodges the question. Back in 2002, when she was still riding the high from Addictive, Truth Hurts collaborated with R. Kelly on a track called The Truth, a song that was supposed to be another big moment in her career. But when asked about the experience, her response was chillingly vague. It was a different experience. I'm gonna leave it at that. Excuse me? A different experience? What does that even mean? Keep in mind, this was before the full extent of R. Kelly's legal troubles became public. But even back then, rumors were swirling about his questionable behavior. Some people believe Truth Hurts saw something or experienced something that made her never want to work with him again. And here's where things get even weirder. Her song with R. Kelly flopped. Now this was R. Kelly in the early 2000s, one of the biggest names in R&B. A collab with him should have been a guaranteed hit. Instead, the song stalled at number 47 on the charts and then disappeared. Some fans think the industry deliberately buried it to distance itself from R. Kelly's growing controversy. Others believe Truth Hurts herself pulled back from promoting the song after what she went through. Whatever happened behind the scenes, one thing is clear. Truth Hurts was done with R. Kelly, and she wasn't about to spill the real reason why. But at this point, her career was hanging by a thread. And when she tried to make a comeback, the industry made sure she never got another shot. At this point, Truth Hurts had been chewed up and spit out by the industry. Her song was erased, her label dropped her, and that R. Kelly collab, dead on arrival. But Truth wasn't ready to give up. In 2004, she signed with Raphael Sadiq's label, Pookie Entertainment, and dropped her second album, Ready Now. This was her big chance to reclaim her spot in R&B. New label, new music, no more Aftermath baggage. But then, crickets. The album flopped hard, debuting at number 173 on the Billboard 200. The industry ignored her. Radio stations weren't playing her music, and the hype from Addictive had completely vanished. At first, it looked like bad luck. But then, people started asking, was Truth Hurts blackballed? Think about it. How does someone go from working with Dr. Dre, Timbaland, and R. Kelly to struggling to even chart in just 2 years? Even Truth herself has admitted she felt like she was being pushed out. Labels stopped calling. Producers stopped reaching out. It was like she had been erased. Some say Interscope made sure she wouldn't get another chance after the Addictive lawsuit. Others believe her decision to walk away from Aftermath was a career-ending mistake. Whatever the reason, Truth Hurts never got another major hit again. So what do you do when the music industry turns its back on you? You switch lanes. When the music industry shut its doors on Truth Hurts, she didn't just disappear, she pivoted. Instead of fighting for a seat at a table that no longer wanted her, she went back to something she had always loved, acting. Most people don't realize this, but Truth Hurts started out in theater, performing classical opera and musicals as a kid in St. Louis. So when her music career stalled, she turned to Hollywood. She landed roles in films like Marigold and even performed in a Ray Charles musical. Then, in 2010, she popped back up, revealing she had a new baby and was working on another album, but by then, the industry had completely moved on. R&B had changed. Artists like Beyoncé, Alicia Keys, and Ciara were dominating the charts. There was no room for a comeback, so Truth Hurts focused on her family and personal life. Then, In 2021, she revealed something surprising. She had remarried and was now living in Austria with her husband. Yep, Austria. She still loves music, but these days, she's more focused on acting. In recent years, she's appeared in horror films like Day of the Dead, Bloodline, the action film 211, and a handful of Netflix projects. She may not have had the legendary career people expected, but with a net worth of around $3 million, she's doing just fine. And most importantly, she never let the industry define her. But if there's one thing she'll always be remembered for, it's a song that was too good for its time. Truth Hurts had everything: a one-of-a-kind voice, industry backing from Dr. Dre, and a chart-topping hit that could have put her in the same conversations as legends like Aaliyah and Ashanti. But in an industry where one wrong move can end everything, she learned the hard way that talent alone isn't enough. A $500 million lawsuit, a label that abandoned her, and a mysterious experience with R. Kelly? Was she blackballed on purpose, or was it just a series of unfortunate events? And let's be honest, why didn't Interscope fight for her? Think about it. A multi-million-dollar record label could have fixed the addictive lawsuit overnight, but instead they chose to erase her song from history. Was it a sacrificial move to protect bigger artists on Aftermath? Or did they just not see her as worth saving? And what about R. Kelly? Truth Hurts never spoke in detail about what went down when she worked with him. But when someone refuses to answer a question, sometimes that says more than words ever could. At the end of the day, Truth Hurts didn't let the industry define her. She built a new life, a new career. And while she may not have had the legendary run she deserved, one thing is for sure: you can't talk about early 2000s R&B without talking about addictive. And that's something no label can erase.